What's up, Spud Nation? Week 5 fantasy football rankings. Hopefully y'all survived week 4 and that brutal bye-week schedule. Thanks for tuning in, guys and girls. This is Craig. If you want to get at me, any questions, comments, concerns, shoot me an email, craig@thesportscoach.com. Leave a comment right on the YouTube page, Facebook, The Sports Coach. Like it. Twitter, give me a follow. The handle is @TheSportsCoach. Here we go. Week 5, only a few buys to deal with. We got Miami and Oakland. So not a ton of fantasy implication going on with those two teams. But let's get going. Let's talk about quarterbacks. Let you get your lineup all set. Optimize, maximize your point production. Here we go. You're looking at quarterback 1 here. Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Matthew Stafford, Nick Foles, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Jay Cutler, Andy Dalton, Romo, and Cam Newton. Those are your quarterback 1s. The cutoff, obviously, if you're in a 10-team league, is at Andy Dalton. If you have any of those guys, you're starting them. I really, really love Phillip Rivers' play. I actually traded for Phillip Rivers today and picked him up. He was a free agent in another league that I'm in. Picked him up. I'm going to ride Phillip Rivers the rest of the season. San Diego's throwing the ball all over the place. Their schedule is nice. They get Oakland, which is always beneficial. Obviously, Jacksonville they just had. So, I mean, look for this to be a nice guy to have. Phillip Rivers putting up big numbers. And he has weapons, surprising weapons. Antonio Gates still has some life left. And Eddie Royal coming out of nowhere and being productive. Quarterback 2s. Eli Manning. The fact that he's getting mentioned on my show is a humongous thing. Eli Manning was very, very worthless for quite some time. He now has fantasy value. Thank you, Larry Donnell. A huge target gives Eli some value. Eli in that top-level quarterback 2 range. Russell Wilson, Kaepernick, Big Ben, Fitzpatrick, Blake Bortles, who I really, really like, Teddy Bridgewater, and Brian Hoyer rounded out. Guys, someone coming onto the scene this week, Kyle Orton. If you're looking for a stretch like FanDuel, you're looking at Kyle Orton, 5,000. If you want to build the rest of your team stacked everywhere else and spend cheap at quarterback, Kyle Orton is a guy who has the weapons and the experience to get you anywhere 15, 18 points. He's obviously not going to blow the roof off with a 30-point week, but productive, stable. It should be nice. There you go. Nice little FanDuel tidbit right there. The Bills believe in him also. Gave him a nice contract, brought him in, and obviously they want him to be the guy. So high expectations for Kyle Orton. Not only game manager, but he can throw the ball as well. The question mark surrounding that is, who is he going to find to be his top target? Is it going to be Sammy Watkins? Do they have that connection? Or will it be someone else? Something to keep your eye on. All right, running backs. These are your running back 1s. If you have 2 of these guys, you're sitting very pretty. You're going to start them both anyway. So you got DeMarco Murray, Marshawn Lynch, Giovanni Bernard, Jamal Charles. Can I finally say welcome to the show, Jamal Charles? It's been a rocky year so far until last week. I'm a Charles owner in 2 leagues. I know exactly what you're all going through, but man, were we happy that he came on strong last week. And he looked good, looked healthy. Le'Veon Bell, Rashad Jennings, I love him this week. He's got a great matchup, a nice start for all you Jennings owners. LaShawn McCoy, hundreds of questions about LaShawn McCoy. You have to believe in his talent, and the offensive system will come around. McCoy, he's still getting a lot of touches. The points will come. You got to stick with him. And if you have a guy in your league giving up on LaShawn McCoy, now's the time to pounce. You're getting who was most likely the #1 overall pick in your draft. Let people give up on him and enjoy the benefit the rest of the season. Arian Foster, Zach Stacy, Matt Forte, Chris Ivory has taken the reins in New York. Let him run wild. Hopefully they continue to give him more and more touches and weed Chris Johnson out. And Frank Gore round out the running back 1s. Running back 2, Alfred Morris, who is usually a running back 1, plays Seattle this week. I think he's going to see a solid workload and quite possibly an increased workload after Kirk Cousins' debacle last week. Eddie Lacy, I know last week I said believe in Eddie Lacy, believe in Eddie Lacy. He should have a big week. He did not look very good at all last week. He got the touchdown. It's still going to take a lot for me to trade Eddie Lacy away. Maybe a running back 2 and a top receiver, because he still is Eddie Lacy on a nice offense. But proceed with caution, I guess. If you get a nice offer, pull the trigger. Asiata, Doug Martin, Andre Ellington, Monte Ball, Ahmad Bradshaw, Kiri Robinson, CJ Spiller, Reggie Bush, Trent Richardson makes the list, and I really, really, really like Hill from Cincinnati this week. They should get up big. You saw what happened last week with the dual running backs. I see him getting involved a lot. They are the better team. Giovanni Bernard's going to run wild. They're going against a terrible run defense. I see a touchdown this week for Jeremy Hill. All right, guys that you should target right now. If they're a free agent, scoop them up. McKinnon from the Vikings, look for his workload to increase every week. And in the same breath, Bishop Sankey, here he comes, folks. They're talking about increased workload. Increased workload is what people drafted him for. Big workload, letting him get the carries and be that rookie running back who's going to get everything handed to him. Well, it's starting to come to fruition right here. Sankey, invest, invest, invest. He's probably a free agent in many leagues. And lastly, for those of you who have Jamal Charles, Nile Davis, you need him handcuffed, and it looks like he's still going to be incorporated in that offense. So a couple teams that are going to drive you crazy. Baltimore with their three-headed beast in the backfield. They're probably the most frustrating set of running backs out there. They don't really specify a starter. They say Bernard Pierce, and then he gets the least amount of carries. And then they say Forset's running third, and he has a nice big game with a touchdown and like 12, 13 carries. And then their rookie. I mean, frustration. It looks like Taliaferro is the guy you want. He is consistently getting the same amount of carries and being productive, and his ceiling is much higher than both of them. Cleveland, on the other hand, they're pretty set in stone. Ben Tate is our starter. He's back. Crowell's number 2. He overtook Terrence West. Terrence West drops to number 3. How they move forward and using them in a game, we'll find out. Try to avoid that at all costs. If there was a guy I'd want out of that backfield, it's Crowell. Some new runners this week. Carolina backfield, Chris Obanyana and Darren Reeves. I'm staying far away from that as possible. And a couple disappointments that have probably hurt you fantasy owners. Man. Shane Vereen, Stephen Ridley, just a letdown city. Steven Jackson. Toby Gerhart, who I was a big believer in. He scored a touchdown, but still looked horrible last week. And, you know, what are you going to do? Donald Brown, your heavy workload, you're still not very good. There you go. Let's move on to wide receivers. Your wide receiver 1s, Antonio Brown, Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, AJ Green, Jordy Nelson, Des Bryant, Demarius Thomas, Brandon Marshall, Jeremy Maclin, Randall Cobb, Keenan Allen, and Alshon Jeffrey. The second tier, wide receiver 2s, Crabtree, Steve Smith, who is fantastic this year, Vincent Jackson, Pierre Garcon, Percy Harvin, Brian Quick. I like him this week. I've liked him for years. He's finally putting up points. Kelvin Benjamin, Emmanuel Sanders, Victor Cruz, and Andrew Hawkins. Hawkins has been quietly efficient. A lot of targets, just solid 80 yards. If you need points, 80 yards every week. Hawkins, Hawkins, Hawkins. There you go. Wide receiver 3s, Roddy White, DeAndre Hopkins, who is knocking on wide receiver 2 territory, Michael Floyd, Eric Decker, Cordell Patterson, who is killing me each and every week. I'm actually benching him this week. It's unfortunate. Sammy Watkins, Reggie Wayne, Hearns, Terrence Williams, Brandon Cooks, Andre Johnson, Larry Fitzgerald, and a couple low-end guys, Marcus Wheaton and Mohamed Sanu. Keep an eye on them. Target these guys now. Devontae Adams. He's working his way into Green Bay's number 3 wide receiver. Future looks bright if you can work your way into a full-time rotation in Green Bay. Odell Beckham. They're talking he's healthy this week. Don't miss the boat. They are very high on this kid. They've wanted him in the lineup from day one. Another weapon for Eli Manning. Beckham, be worried, because what's going to happen with this guy, if you wait on him and you wait for the waivers, you're going to miss it, because he's going to go out there, and as soon as he has a big game, you're going to have everybody in your league rushing to get him. Beat the curve. Go ahead, put him on your roster now if it's allowed. He's a risk, but a high ceiling risk. Marvin Jones coming back. Malcolm Floyd, slowly and quietly productive. And Lewis Murphy, with Mike Evans' injury, now gains some value. All right, tight ends. Tight ends are pretty straightforward. Not much wiggle room each week. You're starting basically the big name guys. Julius Thomas, Jimmy Graham, Martellus Bennett has been fantastic this year. Gronk, Larry Donnell, Delaney Walker, Greg Olsen, Vernon Davis, Antonio Gates, Travis Kelce starting to emerge as a legitimate star at tight end. Zach Ertz and Dwayne Allen, the touchdown scoring machine over in Indy. 2 guys to keep an eye on. Jared Cook seems to be a favorite target of whoever they throw back there at quarterback. And Clay Harbor had a very, very nice game for Jacksonville last week. Kind of a coming out party. Finally injury-free on the field. Blake Bortles liked him. It's a nice security blanket. Hey, if you're searching for a tight end, there's a guy has some upside, as Jacksonville is always down and always throwing. There you have it. Week 5 rankings. Spud Nation, good luck to everyone. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, hit me up. Craig@thesportscoach.com. I answer all emails. Twitter, my handle is @thesportscoach. Give me a follow. Send me a tweet. Just say hi. Do what you want to do. Facebook, like it The Sports Coach, or leave me a comment on YouTube. I love interacting with you guys. You're the reason I do this. Thanks again. Hey, best of luck to everyone in their Week 5 matchup. I'll talk to you next week when we all have W's. Till next week, we're out.